This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And it's 2 weeks from today. It'll be the opener of the regular season. Some fine-tuning still to come. Spring training rolls on. It's the Miami Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome to our St. Louis-based studios here in St. Louis. And that's Brad Thompson. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We're delighted to have you with us. And we've got just 10 games left, including tonight, in this spring training schedule. So you're going to start seeing some of the regulars play longer in these games, starters going longer as they fine-tune this thing, getting ready for the regular season.
Yeah, there's been a lot of opportunity early on in camp, but you're absolutely right. Guys who want to get more AB, starting to get ready. This is when you feel it a little bit. This is when the excitement kicks in as a player. So it's going to be a great couple of weeks here.
It's been a very good camp for Tommy Edman. They're going to give him the reins, it looks like, at the top of the lineup and at second base.
Well, he came in, again, talking about expectations and opportunity. We expected Tommy Edman to be able to take over at second. There was a lot of talk about him being the leadoff hitter, but he had to make it happen. Well, that's exactly what he's done. You look at the numbers Tommy has put up so far this spring. He is up there swinging it. He's up there trying to do some damage, and we already know that the speed that he has. You'd like to see him draw some more walks here and there, but that's gonna come. That's kind of part of it. I know that Mike Schilt likes the aggressive nature at the top.
Now, there's also the aspect of having a combination defensively up the middle, so no Colton Wong. Tommy Edman, though, handles himself just fine at second base.
He's going to be okay, isn't he? And we've seen already in camp, we've seen this duo turn a couple of double plays, and it's going to take some time. It'll take even more reps to figure out where each of them is going to be all the time, where they want the ball. But look, you look at Paul DeJong and Tommy Edman. Paul DeJong, we talk about his bat a lot. Defensively, he's one of the better shortstops in the game. This is going to be a good duo for the Cardinals.
All right, we are set to go. It's the St. Louis Cardinals, the Miami Marlins. Daniel Ponce de Leon, an author and a major league pitcher. He'll go tonight. Starting lineups, first pitch, and it comes your way next. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. By Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life, wear your shield, wear your shelter. And by Ford, the official car and truck of the St. Louis Cardinals. Brad Thompson, Dan McLaughlin, Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Clouds overhead, 82 degrees. We're in our St. Louis-based studios, and wherever you may be, we hope you're having a great day and can settle back and take in some St. Louis Cardinals baseball. The first pitch is swung on and missed by Corey Dickerson. And we're underway as Daniel Ponce de Leon, Brad, gets the start.
Well, look forward to this every time out there for Ponce. We've seen him at the big league level. We know what he wants to do. You know he wants to be a part of this rotation. Not exactly sure what that opportunity looks like this spring, but I like that.
Ooh.
I like that a lot. That's a pitch there for Ponce that he's kind of the feel has been in and out for that one. But it is nasty when he has that. Pair that up with his mid-90s fastball. You got to like that.
And it's no balls and 2 strikes on Dickerson. A gap in right center. And the next by Daniel. So strikeout for Daniel Ponce de Leon.
It's about as efficient as you could be right there. Saw a little bit of everything. Got the fastball to get him started, the curveball, and then the nasty changeup right there. You see him turn the hand over. That thing just drops off the table.
Brings in Starling Marte, Jesus Aguilar to follow for Don Mattingly's club. Then Duvall, the former Red, Anderson, Diaz, Alfaro, Rojas, and the pitcher, Pablo Lopez. Here's Starling Marte. So 4 pitches, 4 strikes, and that is so important with Daniel Ponce de Leon. He's got good stuff. If he can just be efficient inside the strike zone, stay in deeper in games, he's got something going.
Oh, it's huge. It is. And the stuff that he has, it's very obvious. He can compete within the strike zone. He does have a tendency to nibble a little bit, but not today.
Doesn't get the call there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Marte played in 61 games last year. Hit .281, 6 homers, drove in 27. And the only player in baseball to play in more than 60 regular season games as he lines that out to right field. The catch is made by Justin Williams. Austin Dean in left, Lane Thomas is in center, and Williams in right. Arenado, DeYoung, Edman, Goldschmidt along the infield, and Yadier Molina, who's already had a 9-inning game under his belt. He again is behind the plate. Jesus Aguilar, 1 home run this spring, and he has driven in 6. Notice the pace too of Ponce de Leon. You got to wonder if that's by design as well. Sometimes he can labor out there, not only with the fact that he doesn't throw strikes, but sometimes his pace isn't there either, and you got to wonder if one is kind of in hand with the other.
Yeah, I would think that the two are connected. For me, I always like to work quickly, especially when I was in a groove.
Daniel hit the deck, but Tommy Edman, he's got his back. He's right there. And a 1-2-3 inning for Daniel Ponce de Leon. Pablo Lopez to face the top of the Cardinal lineup next. Well, we highlighted Tommy Edman in our open. He's had a terrific spring. The switch hitter at the top of the Cardinal lineup. Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, 2-3. Then DeYoung batting cleanup. Yadier Molina, Justin Williams, Austin Dean, Lane Thomas, and Daniel Ponce de Leon against right-hander Pablo Lopez. Penciled in probably as the number 2 starter this season in the rotation for the Marlins.
Yeah, Pablo Lopez has sneaky good stuff. You watch him out there, and it looks effortless, but he's running it up there in the mid-90s. Mixed in a cutter last year that helped him a lot.
And the first pitch is strike. Sandy Alcantara, the former Cardinal, has been tabbed as the opening day starter for the Marlins. And the 0-1 pitch. And that is going to be probably their biggest question for Mel Stottlemyre Jr., their pitching coach, how to manage all the innings for such a young staff. They have a very good, young, talented pitching staff, but how do they manage all the innings coming off the shortened season as that's pulled foul?
I think the answer to that question is one of those, it's a complicated equation, right? Because you're going to take in everything into account, all of your analytics and all your numbers. You're going to trust your doctors. But the eye test comes into it, too. Are guys laboring? Do you get them out of games early when their pitch count's getting up? I mean, you have to manage something like that throughout the entire season, not just at the back end of it.
Shift on the right side. That ball taken in. Lopez finished up last year leading the Marlins in wins, 6-4, 3.61 ERA, made 11 starts. Made his first playoff start in the division series, 2 runs over 5 innings, and struck out 7. Pulled on a hop to second base. And that's the first out. They say even on the outs, they're loud off the bat at Tommy Edman.
Just seeing the ball well right now. Seeing it well.
It's Paul Goldschmidt coming off his first home run. Hit that against Houston. 240 the average this spring, 1 home run, and he's driven in 2. More and more we are seeing the Cardinals using this at the top of their lineup. Goldschmidt batting second, Arenado third. You are going to see the combination of one or the other. Either 3 or 4, doesn't matter, or 2 or 3. They're not going to be separated, but you may see them 2 or 3 in this lineup. 0-2 the count.
Yeah, I kind of like it, honestly. Mike Schilt has some options with these guys, certainly. And maybe as you start going, maybe there's a clear-cut option that you'd like to throw in there at 2 that isn't one of these 2 guys. But, like, right now, when you look at it, Tommy Edman makes sense leading off. And then, I mean, these are your next 2 best hitters. Roll them out in the first inning.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. Hammered, left side, and fair inside the third base line. Goldschmidt digging for second base, and the throw is not in time by Corey Dickerson. 1-out double for Paul Goldschmidt.
Goldie just got those really quick hands, you know, going up there, getting that one, getting that top hand over.
Nolan Arenado, no home runs this spring, but he's driven in 3 and batting .304. And the first pitch to him. So imagine, Brad, being the opposition, you're Pablo Lopez, and you look at this lineup and realize that first inning, which you want to go through efficiently and try to get off to a good start, but you realize you've got to go through the combination, one or the other, but Goldie and Arenado.
It's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure because if you don't execute your pitches early on, and there are some starters that are like that. The first inning, they go out there and kind of feeling for different things and then are able to build off of it after that. Well, if you're not feeling it early in this game, you could be down a couple of runs real quick.
And the 1-0. 1 ball and 1 strike. Arenado didn't like it. Shaking his head a bit. 1 ball, 1 strike. Many of the scouts are situated right behind home plate at Roger Dean Stadium. About 1,500 fans or so. The 1-1. Oh, boy. You're Pablo Lopez. Smart. Go right back to it, huh?
You might as well. Especially, that's the thing about Pablo Lopez, and he's gotten better as everybody does with experience. He spots up his fastball really well, and he could command it to both sides of the plate. So if you're getting that, you just keep trying to go in further.
One and two the count. Well, by all accounts, if fans are curious how Nolan Arenado is fitting in with the Cardinals, from everybody we talk to, they say it's like he's been a Cardinal his entire life. Loves it. Teammates love him, vice versa. Just fits perfectly with this organization.
Yeah, it's always everything we heard about Nolan beforehand, the work ethic, the fact that he just kind of lives, eats, breathes baseball. That all screamed Cardinals. But now when he's actually doing it, like, it doesn't seem weird, and maybe it's just because we've seen him plastered everywhere, right? You look on social media, and there's Nolan Arenado in the 28, but it looks right.
Yeah.
Instead of looks new and different. It just looks like it's been there.
Arenado, he got in just enough. Lopez did, popped up, and with the catch, it's Diaz for out number 2.
The shortstop, number 1,
Dickerson, Marte, Duvall in the outfield. Rojas, he's at short. Very slick at short. Good infielder. Brian Anderson, good young player for them at third. Diaz, Aguilar on the right side, and Alfaro is behind the plate. Here's Paul DeYoung, batting just 120 this spring. And a breaking pitch drops in for a strike.
So this is where this spot is incredibly important, and you love to see Paul DeYoung kind of make those strides and be able to solidify potentially the 4-hole, because if you are able to navigate through 2-3 and those ducks are on the pond, a lot of pressure falls on the 4-hole here.
The 0-1. So one thing I do enjoy about games in which there aren't a lot of fans, and believe me, I want the fans back, so don't take me wrong, but I love hearing the pop of the mitt. I love it. You know, you go down to listen to a bullpen pop. I mean, these guys bring it, man. You can hear that glove popping, or the bat.
Yeah, and that's part of it too, that I'm sure a lot of our fans, a lot of our viewers right now are missing. Being at the ballpark is just different, and seeing the speed of the game at the ballpark, you really get to see kind of how talented these guys are when you're watching it in person. Now, I mean, this is a pretty darn good view here.
Oh, yeah.
And it's beautiful, but there is something about the sights and the sounds.
Lifted out to deep left field, and Paul DeYoung has his first of the spring. It's a 2-run homer, and the Cardinals shortstop puts the Cardinals on the board here in the first. A relief, I'm sure, for the shortstop. His first of the spring, 2-0 St. Louis. That got out in a hurry.
Dan, we just talked about the sights and the sounds in the game of baseball. This is a good sight. The sound was loud. A pitch that just crept in. You see Paul DeYoung does a great job of pulling the hands in. Wow. That ball is crushed. And you're right, that feels good. We've talked about this earlier in spring in regards to Matt Carpenter, right? However long you've been around, Matt Carpenter has had a slow spring. Finally got his first hit over the weekend against the Mets. Like, I don't care if you've played for a long time or you're a rookie. That when you get off and hit a ball hard, all of a sudden you get a little momentum. You start feeling good.
Mike Schultz said he thought DeYoung a couple of days ago was close, and he hit a home run. The backfields against Jack Flaherty. He said he's close. We're seeing things. He said, I don't worry about Paul DeYoung. He'll be just fine. And Yachty yanks it foul into the Marlins bullpen, and well, he wasn't lying. That got out in a hurry.
Yeah, it did. And that's a guy, you see the big smile on Paul's face right there. It's a guy you're going to lean on. We talked about him and Tommy Edman in the open, right up the middle. These guys are going to be incredibly important for this pitching staff defensively. But offensively, we've already seen it. He's hit 30 home runs in a season.
And Yachty lines it to third, and Anderson with the catch. Hard hit balls in the first inning for the Cardinals. He had the double to Goldschmidt. The line out by Molina, but sandwiched in between there, a two-run homer, Paul DeYoung. Well, Paul DeYoung has his first home run of the spring, and also his first runs batted in, a two-run homer, and it's 2-0 after one inning of play. Let's turn to our Toyota key to the game with Brad Thompson.
Yeah, we talked about this early on. For Daniel Ponce de Leon, is get innings in. Be efficient, and incredibly efficient in the first inning for Daniel Ponce de Leon. Only 8 pitches, pumping strikes, and showing off the entire arsenal. The fastball, the curveball, the change as well. Daniel Ponce de Leon has got elite stuff. He's got great stuff, but it's about getting it deeper and deeper into the ball game.
That pitch is taken high by Adam Duvall. So Adam Duvall, the former Red, also a former Brave, played in 57 games last year with Atlanta. Lifts a high fly ball into left center. And that ball is gone. So Adam Duvall answers with a solo home run of his own, his third of this spring.
Well, solo shots don't end up killing you, right? And the key for Daniel Ponce de Leon is just going to be continue to fill up the zone. This one, though, he just kind of leaves it middle of the plate hanging up there. Duvall has shown off a lot of power over the years. He puts a charge into that one. And for Ponce, all right, well, you hit that one. Here we go. Here's some more strikes.
You know, Duvall last year hit only .237, but 16 home runs. He's got really good power.
He does. Yeah, not a high OBP guy, but you always know he's one swing of the bat away from something like that. I was surprised, honestly, that he was designated.
I was too. Yeah.
I mean, it's a talented player. And look, the Marlins picked him up for $5 million. That's a good value piece.
This is Brian Anderson. 255 last year. 11 home runs, and he drove in 38. Tied the club record for home runs. He had 3, drove in 7 in a game on September 18th. Big curveball, tap foul.
Kind of a sneaky cornerstone player for the Marlins is Anderson. I mean, he's been their everyday guy since 2018.
And the 1-2 got him to reach, and a ground ball that's hit to short. Taken by DeYoung. And the first out here in the top of the second.
The second baseman, number 1, Isan Diaz.
I like seeing that out of Daniel Ponce de Leon too, Dan. They give up the home run, and instead of nibbling to the next batter, it's attack mode. Here it comes.
Now it's Isan Diaz. He's in a battle in this camp for second base. Big curveball. They have Jazz Chisholm, very good player. We've seen him a bunch in camp. And he and Diaz have split a lot of reps at second base so far this spring. Chisholm, his natural position, though, is shortstop.
John Birdie's had a nice camp for them as well.
Sure has.
Diaz part of the haul that came back for Christian Yelich. A deal they're still kind of waiting for some of these guys to pay off on, right? Lewis Brinson was the big piece, and he's been slow to evolve at the big league level.
And Diaz is a guy that's only played in 56 major league games and then opted out last year, then returned, sustained an injury, and now it's really time to see what he can offer Miami. Very good glove man, but can he hit at this level? 3-2 pitch. Got him. Second strikeout for Daniel Ponce de Leon. 2 away.
See Yachty with the high target. Ponce puts it exactly where he wants it. That giddy up. Those pitches, it's so the high fastball, and obviously we've seen this trend in Major League Baseball. The fastball up, the curveball's down. Those are so tough to lay off of for the hitter. It looks like something you can barrel coming out of the hands, and if it's just a bit above the belt, it ends up being trouble.
Here's Alfaro and a strike. Played in just 31 games last year. Hit .226, 3 home runs, 16 runs batted in. He himself a former top prospect as well. Big arm behind home plate. The 1-1 pitch. Good fastball again. The Marlins in their postseason turn to Chad Wallach. They're hoping that Alfaro will bounce back. Dealt with a left oblique strain and then the first month of the season with COVID-19. And these are the 2 teams last year that dealt with outbreaks a season ago. Marlins had 18 different players that made their major league debut last year, and the Cardinals weren't far behind.
It was amazing. I remember you and I, we were doing a game together early in the season. We started getting the news about the Marlins and more and more players testing positive, and what a roller coaster that year was, and not knowing, you know, how close that news would hit to home for St. Louis. But one of many unbelievable stories from last year is this team, the Marlins, being a postseason team.
To me, both teams.
You are right.
So the Marlins played a game on July 26, Brad. That was against the Phillies, knowing 4 of their players had tested positive, and then within days they had an outbreak and it grew to affect 18 different players, and essentially they were kind of trapped and quarantined in Philly. And Ponce not happy with himself there. The 2-out walk to Alfaro to bring in Rojas, who's batting .167 this spring.
The Marlins shortstop, number 19.
Don Mattingly actually said at one point when they got back, there were players that he had to introduce himself to because he had no idea who they were. I mean, he had heard of them. He's like, how you doing? I'm the manager. Okay, you're playing left field today, or whatever it was. It's unbelievable.
No, and credit first the organization overall, because they had to go outside the organization too and find players and just kind of piece it all together. So the guys, everybody had to come together as a group and get it done. You know how difficult this game is anyhow, and then you're doing it with a bunch of kind of pieces that don't know each other so well, and you got to make it work somehow, some way, and the Marlins were able to. And not only do they make it to the postseason, they knock off the Cubs in the wild card round. Impressive year, something for them to build on.
Don Mattingly, the manager of the year in the National League. Well deserved. For one of the most popular players and people in the game. Evansville, Indiana. He still puts on a fundraiser every year in Evansville to help out many of the charities and baseball entities in that community.
I know that was Jimmy's guy, right? Jim Edmonds, a huge Donnie baseball fan.
Favorite player growing up. Big gap in left center, and the 0-2. Wanted it up, got it there, and the strikeout. 2 in the inning, 3 in the game. Home run hit by Duvall midway through 2, and it's 2-1 St. Louis. Fox Sports Midwest is becoming Bally Sports Midwest. Bally Sports will be the new network of your favorite teams starting March 31st. 2-1 our score. Bottom of the second rolls in. Cardinals have a 2-run homer hit by Paul DeYoung. Adam Duvall, a solo shot for the Marlins. Cardinals will send Williams, Dean, and Thomas to the plate. We still don't know about Justin Williams. At least I haven't heard. Maybe you have, but I have not. Whether or not he is being granted another option that would potentially give the Cardinals some flexibility in what they want to do with Justin Williams 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything definitively either, which is crazy, again, because the season starts in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And there are others that are in the same boat that he's in, too. They're not sure if he gets that fourth option, if you want to call it that. The other aspect of this, too, is, you know, the Cardinals from the left side of their bench right now would have Matt Carpenter, and you got to wonder who else. Now, you do have switch hitters like a Dylan Carlson, but say he's in your lineup every day. Or Tommy Edman, he's in your lineup every day. But just a pure left-handed bat off the bench, this might be an option in Justin Williams.
And that's what the key is. He just got to swing his way onto the roster. I mean, that's the thing with Justin Williams. You know the power that he's got. We've seen it before. Options or no options about, you know, what he ends up getting done with the rest of this spring.
The former Marlin, Austin Dean. Pablo Lopez, interesting story. His trek to the big leagues. The starter tonight for the Marlins. His late father and late mother, doctors. Accepted into medical school. He was at the age of 16, but opted to pursue his baseball career. Spoke 4 languages when he graduated high school: Spanish, English, Italian, Portuguese. And he's still very fluent in English and Spanish. He says that his Italian, not so much anymore. The Portuguese, not great anymore, but only take him a few weeks. And
that's it.
It wouldn't be that big a deal.
All you got to do is just immerse yourself in the language again, right?
A lot smarter than me, I know that. Backhanded. Nice play. Deep and short, Miguel Rojas. Did you pick up much Spanish being around guys?
Yeah, well, keywords. But I didn't pick up everything. Here's what I messed up in big time. In high school, I took 4 years of French. That didn't help me at all.
No.
It didn't help me one bit.
There's not a lot of guys from France coming over and playing baseball.
No, you get a couple of Canadian guys like French Canada, but they speak English as well. So really didn't help a ton.
No.
Well, and
you probably, though, could order some nice dinners speaking French.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, impress your wife.
Yeah, I know a few phrases still, Dan.
I'm sure you do. On the ground, and Lane Thomas grounds out. Redbirds go 1-2-3. We move to the third, and it's 2-1. Michael Gersh, the general manager of the Cardinals. Family and friends down for spring break. Taking in the nice weather and a little Cardinal baseball tonight. Fans enjoying it. We are in the studios here in St. Louis, and hopefully the weather here in town is going to change more like Florida next week. That's what we understand. It's been a little rainy and cold around town.
Yeah, but at least this right here.
This warms your heart.
This makes us feel like the good days are coming. And again, 2 weeks away, opening day in Cincinnati. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Can't wait. Pablo Lopez, the pitcher. So some of the National League teams are starting to use their pitchers hitting. Now, if you wanted to, you could use the DH in spring training, but there is no DH in regular season play. And pitchers are saying, I've read some of the comments, they just feel like, I don't remember how to do this. I haven't done this in so long. They haven't done it in a year and a half.
Waino talked about his at-bat the other day, and he said it's top 5, it's in his top 5 of worst at-bats he's ever had.
But here's the thing. I mean, if you're Mike Schilt, you're Don Mattingly, you got to start getting your pitchers at least seeing pitches, because what if they have to bunt? You know, I'm not really worried about them swinging a bat and driving in a run. I mean, that's bonus if you get it, or a base hit. But when you're talking about a sacrifice or bunting, those kind of things, you got to have them be able to do that.
Changes the game.
Yes.
If your pitcher is able to handle the bat a little bit, maybe it is the base hit here and there, but you're right, the bunt or just getting a ball over, or getting a ground ball to the right side to get a runner over. You can help yourself so much. Nice change up there by Daniel Ponce de Leon. He's got a good feel for that today.
That was the pitch that he struck Dickerson out first time up on 3 pitches. He has struck out 4 first time through the lineup. And the 0-1. Corey Dickerson, one of the rare major leaguers that did not play travel ball as a kid, said he honed his swing with his older brother, Craig. They built their own pitcher's mound and competed by hitting ping pong balls with a broomstick. And that's how they got better.
Well, that'll help the hand-eye, I would think.
I like that.
Hey, you don't have to play year-round. Just be doing something. Just play.
Just play the game.
That's one thing I hope we get to see more and more of. Just play. Like, go outside, grab your buddies, grab a bucket of balls, and have fun.
There's so much of the specialization of these sports. And there's a place for it, don't get me wrong, but there's also a place, and you can't convince me otherwise, that you're going to tell me it's not beneficial to go out, grab a glove and your buddy and go play some catch.
Yep. And go
play
compete.
The game.
Yeah, go compete that way. And there's incredible teachers out there when we talk about the specialization.
Line drive and caught by by Paul DeYoung.
Be a good time to bring up Daniel Ponce de Leon's new book.
And, you know, anytime I see this, it really does make you think about it. And Daniel does have a new book out. Just released it. One line drive, a life-threatening injury, and a faith-fueled comeback. And it's authored by himself and Tom Zinner. Released back on March 9th, and it's all about his journey back to baseball and then eventually into Major League Baseball because of the comebacker that forced him into the ICU, playing in the minor leagues.
Yeah, scary stuff, and I know that a lot of fans have heard Daniel talk a little bit about his journey, but this would be a much deeper dive into it. I'm looking forward to reading it. I ordered it earlier today. Should be to me on Saturday, Dan, which means I'll have that thing finished in a couple of months.
So I'm going to put you to the test, Starling Marte here at the plate. If you're going to get it by Saturday, today's Thursday, you could probably have it ready for his next start, have it read and a full review. So
how many pages is it?
I don't know. And I don't know how many pictures either.
That's big too.
Yeah, pictures might help you.
Well, it just kind of keeps my attention, you know.
Sure it does.
Especially color pictures too.
I am looking forward to reading the book.
It's going to be really good, and you've spent time with Daniel. You know how he ticks and how passionate he is. So I'm really looking forward to it. And good for him, because I know it's something that he kind of had to be talked into writing. Had a lot of people asking him about his experience, what it did for him, and kind of how he got through it. So the goal is kind of to tell people about his experience and, you know, about his faith and how that helped him through and to get back to here right now.
I get the feeling this is, in his career, baseball career, a fairly big year for Daniel Ponce de Leon, too. You've had a couple of injuries in the rotation with Miles Michaelis. We're not sure about KK. Daniel is 29. And I'm not saying he's old, but in baseball terms, this is kind of an important year. Right around when you get to that 28, 29, 30 mark, you'd love to be established, and he's still in that swing mode of reliever. Is he a starter? And it's a chance to really be established.
Yeah, it really is. And look, he's a big leaguer, you know that, but you're right, is getting that firm footing of kind of what your role is. I think that's also something. Look, if you put Daniel Ponce de Leon on a third of the teams in baseball, I think that you look at some of the rotations and say, yeah, he's in there for sure. The Cardinals have been fortunate to have the depth, and they've needed a bit of the depth as well. But he's done a good job of taking advantage of some opportunities.
So Marte is your runner at first base, not running, pitch taken high. So here's what we're talking about. If you look back at the second inning, a 2-out walk. This inning, 2-out walk, and that raises those pitch counts. They want to see him be as efficient as possible. Reduce the walks. This would be pitch number 16 of the inning. And a base hit into center. Jesus Aguilar. Marte racing to third. Runners at the corners now for Miami. Adam Duvall solo home run back in the second inning. And he'll come up with 2 outs and 2 on.
14, Adam Duvall.
So, little visit here on the mound. Now the Cardinals want to play it with Adam Duvall at the plate.
Ponce sitting here with 47 pitches, 2 outs in the third. Mike Schilt before the game said that the goal would be around 5 innings, somewhere around 80-85 pitches today for Daniel Ponce de Leon.
I can just see what Goldschmidt just said to him too. He said, do not worry about the guy at first base. Go get Duvall. Don't worry about that. It's Aguilar, and he's probably not running. You would have to say.
Well, I'd love to see it.
And if that's the case, we're moving to the bottom of the third. Duvall, 11th round pick in 2010 by San Francisco. Parts of 7 major league seasons with the Giants, the Reds, and the Braves. He was an all-star with Cincinnati back in 2016. Lifts a fly ball into deep right center, and the catch is made. No, it's not. It gets down. Thomas was there, but it gets down. And 2 runs will score, and Duvall winds up at third. He has a home run, a triple, and has driven in all 3 for Miami, and they have their first lead of the contest.
Really didn't feel like off the bat this thing was going to travel as far as it did, but for Ponce, another mistake in the middle of the plate. Duvall puts a really nice swing on it. Thomas can't quite get there. Duvall was running hard. Goes back to what you were talking about just a minute ago, Dan, is the 2-out walk. You end up getting yourself in a little bit of trouble, get somebody on, a couple of fastballs that miss, and all of a sudden the score changes.
Pitch up and swung on by Brian Anderson. So 3-2 Miami. Nothing into the count. Big gap in left center. And the 0-2 pitch. Lined into right for a base hit on an 0-2. And that'll make it 4-2 Miami on the base hit by Anderson. That scores Duvall. So the damage done in this inning with 2 outs.
Yeah, Anderson does a nice job of going that way, but you see there just kind of a pitch up in the zone again, belt high. Ponce going to need to make some adjustments. He is a guy that pitches with his fastball up in the zone, but either you got to be up above that to get the swing through, or you got to be down. End up getting the more called strike to the weak contact.
Marlins second baseman number 1, Isan Diaz.
Roel Ramirez getting loose, the right-hander for the Cardinals. Cardinals, we may see tonight Alex Reyes, Tyler Webb, Genesis Cabrera, Zach Thompson all listed as potential pitchers in this game. And a ground ball. Goldschmidt will step on the bag and makes the play. Big inning for the Marlins, and they have the lead 4-2. Single game tickets for April on sale now. And matchups with the Brewers, Nationals, and more. And there's a promotional giveaway for all 13 home games. So check out the website and the giveaways, cardinals.com. That's nice to read those promos again to say the tickets are on sale. Come on down to the ballpark. So Daniel Ponce de Leon, Tommy Edman, Paul Goldschmidt. Cardinals half of the third, trailing 4-2. It's going to be a very tough sun outfield this time of night. We don't play or see the teams play many night games, or in this case a 6 o'clock start down in Florida. Breaking ball, and Daniel doesn't go for it, so he's got the shades on, he's got the hat pulled down, using the glove for shade. Not easy at all.
Yeah, that'll challenge you. It's a good look at it right there of the sun just coming right in.
And a strikeout of Daniel Ponce de Leon. I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of at-bats like that this year in the National League with pitchers. I mean, it's hard enough to hit when you're Tommy Edman or Paul Goldschmidt, much less a guy that hasn't picked up a bat in a year and a half and trying to do this. And by the way, they're paid to pitch.
Are you surprised that they didn't just implement
yes,
the designated hitter?
Because it sounds like everybody, for the most part, the players want it. Sounded like Major League Baseball wanted it, but they didn't implement it. And I understand there's traditionalists that don't want it. I understand that there's
I don't want it.
Other fans that want to see it.
I know this, and I think last year was a good example of it.
Second hard hit ball for Tommy Edman, but nothing to show for it.
Whatever you give me as far as baseball is concerned,
yeah, I'll take it.
I'll take it. Look, you want to put a runner at second in extra innings? I don't love it, Dan. Was it baseball? Okay, fine. You wanted to have the designated hitter in the NL last year? I didn't love it, but it was baseball.
Yeah.
I'll deal with whatever's there as long as we got some games to watch.
It seemed like in some of the polling of executives and managers, they liked the runner at second. Heard more and more about that they thought that actually was a good thing, because then their pitching staffs were not taxed. You know, you weren't seeing all of a sudden they have to go down to their satellite camps and minor league system to try to just cover innings.
Yeah, which was a lot harder last year.
Yeah. It's harder to do anyway.
No, I understand that certainly from their side, from a player's side. From a traditional baseball fan side, you look up, though, and then you hear a call that you've never heard before, a leadoff two-run home run. That's kind of a weird thing to hear. The swing and a miss by Goldschmidt.
So 2 strikeouts in the inning sends us to the 4th. 4-2, spring training baseball. We've got Cardinals spring training coverage continuing Saturday afternoon. Cardinals and the Astros will come your way at noon. And Cardinals baseball is back on Fox Sports Midwest, brought to you by Mid-America Chevy. Along with Brad Thompson, I'm Dan McLaughlin. And it is the 4th inning. Keep an eye on the pitch count for Daniel Ponce de Leon. As Brad mentioned, 85 pitches or so the Cardinals would like to see out of Daniel. You know, the Cardinals have 4 off days in the first month. As Alfaro looks at a ball, he walked his first time up. So it'll be interesting to see if they want to skip somebody or they keep them on their same rotation, 1 through 5. Innings are going to be, you know, the point of this is that your depth when you get into August is really going to be tested across Major League Baseball after last year. So how do you buy yourself a little rest?
Yeah, no, that's the hard part, too, because you couple that with the idea of, I look at Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty is an ace. We see the stuff that he has. Like, I don't want to skip a Jack Flaherty. I don't want to push one back. Like, if I get a chance to get him every 5th day, I would like to see that. But that's where the tough work comes in for Mike Schilt, for Mike Maddox. To your point is, hey, the back end of the season, how do we buy that? Because you need everybody to be at their best. We're seeing Ponce here in this inning. The adjustment of trying to focus down, and he is, but he's pulling off a little bit here. Falling behind, obviously, 3-0.
So when you say he's pulling off, and that's his third walk, describe what you mean for the fans at home.
The front shoulder for Daniel Ponce de Leon kind of opens up a little bit early, and then he's just pulling that front side across. Now, sometimes that can allow it can make you miss arm side high, or if you hold on to the ball a little bit longer, you end up just kind of pulling it into the dirt. So mechanically, you just want to make sure you're staying square and heading right to your target, stepping to your target. Easiest thing I always tell kids, and it's works for big leaguers as well. Take your head to your target. It's amazing. The ball goes where your head goes.
And Rojas, after 4 straight balls, swinging away into shallow right goes Tommy Edman to make the catch.
Up next to the pitcher, number 49, Pablo Lopez.
So you have the pitcher here, Pablo Lopez. Nolan Arenado on a bunt play. We get an opportunity to watch that. Arenado cheating in at third. The bunt is a foul ball. And that's strike 1. Yeah, if you're Pablo Lopez, seeing how the Cardinals are playing this with Goldschmidt holding it first and an 8-time Gold Glover at third, he's got to get that ball to the right side.
Yeah, you got to get it down. You got to deaden it. That's not the easiest thing in the world to do. That's why you do it for countless hours in spring training.
That's right. So squares to bunt again. Arenado, a few more steps in, and the bunt is down. Goldschmidt will get the shore out with Edman covering at the bag at first. Top of the lineup in Corey Dickerson. So Lopez does his job.
I know it's spring training, but it's little stuff like that, right? Little stuff that can end up winning you some ball games. You get him over, you're able to scrape together a base hit afterwards. They mean a lot. You practice them here. There's stuff like that too that the Marlins, I mean, and Don Mattingly obviously has a long history of doing things the right way, fundamentally sound, but they're trying to build a new culture over there, and I think they're heading in a really good direction.
You know, they also took out the fish tank at their ballpark. It's no longer behind home plate.
Why do they do that?
Well, I guess they're trying to get a new culture.
Yeah, but I mean, who doesn't like seeing fish?
I like that part of it.
I think they're relaxing.
The sculpture, I was okay. When they removed that, I was like, well, all right. The neon green, okay. I could say goodbye to that. But
yeah.
the fish, I don't know. I like the fish tank.
I did too. But you know what? That's fine. If you're going to, you know what? If you take away from the fish and then pour those resources back into the club.
Buy second baseman or something.
That might
right?
be good,
okay.
right?
All right.
Pick up Adam Duvall. Like, those fish probably cost $5 million a year, wouldn't you think?
No.
Well, you obviously don't own fish. They're expensive.
The tank may have.
That's what I'm saying.
It's an expensive tank.
What
a lot of foul balls.
What did they do with that monstrosity that was in left?
Went to the city, I believe.
What did they do with it?
I'm not so sure.
Burn pile.
No. I think it went to the city. I really do. Publicly financed ballpark. The 2-1 pitch. Off the end of the bat, you can hear him yelling in. And the catch is made. Lane Thomas. Paul DeYoung is homer tonight, and he's coming up. Download the MLB app to get in-game video highlights, live pitch-by-pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, and more for your Cardinals and the rest of the league. Nolan Arenado will lead it off for St. Louis, home half of the fourth, in a 4-2 Marlins lead. So, partner, only 9 games remaining in spring training after tonight. That is hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. And for some of the players, too, these are the times where you know that every at-bat is important. You know that every inning that you get to pitch is important. You need your reps. You're still building up, and you get ready. But you're looking at the calendar, and you're saying, man, I wish we could just fast forward. Just wish we could get right there. But
yeah,
it's going to be here before we know it.
Arenado looks at a ball low. Popped out his first time up. 0 for 1. They tried to pitch him in first time up. Back-to-back changeups there.
Nolan Arenado is one of those guys that you want to make sure you don't fall into a pattern with, right? Because even if you get a couple of calls inside his first at-bat, you know he's looking there, and you know his hands are fast enough.
And he grounds it to third. Brian Anderson with it. Nice pick by Aguilar. And that's the first out.
The shortstop, number 11, Paul DeYoung.
Here's Paul DeYoung. Cranked a 2-run homer back in the first inning. Let's put the Cardinals in front 2-0, and the Marlins have come back to make it 4-2. That is loud.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, I had some flashbacks right there, but for Paul DeYoung, that's a good sound for the Cardinals offense.
Cardinals will open up in Cincinnati, and the Reds have been playing Eugenio Suarez, a third baseman that's had a 40 home run season at shortstop. Dropped a little weight going back to his original position, and they may be playing him on an everyday basis at short.
Hey, he's always had a decent glove, and we look around baseball, there's less balls put in play now than ever before. So if you're ever going to, move a guy, not necessarily, well, look, he's a third baseman. I know originally he was a shortstop, but he never moved that well. There's a reason that he ended up shifting over to third base. But if you're going to do it, if you're going to take some chances defensively, I guess nowadays would be the time. They've already played Moose at second.
Yeah. And that's hit out of play. And the 2-2. Hits it in the air, shallow left, drops in. So not only did he need the 2-run homer, but sometimes you need a little bloop too. And as our buddy would say, a bloop and a blast. It's not the 9th inning, but there's your bloop and blast.
Well, for Paul DeYoung, who's been kind of slow to get things going this spring, he'll take it, right? Pull the hands in right there, put the ball in play, get something done.
There's Yadier Molina lined out to third, his first time up. Molina came up in 2004. Brad Thompson, your debut was in 05. Yeah, 2005. And look at you. The lucky one gets to sit next to me, and Yadi's still wearing that Cardinal red.
Here we are, right? Yeah, that's when it strikes me. I've been out of the game in that capacity for a while now.
Yeah.
And he's still rolling. I love seeing it.
Well, you're not the only one. It's unbelievable.
It is. It is. And hey, the thing with Yadi, and I know that we spent a lot of time this offseason wondering how it was going to go down. I think we all believed in our hearts that he was, he's a Cardinal for life, and that he was going to be back. But you heard him rumored to other teams, but you knew he'd be playing again. He talked about wanting a 2-year deal. I think that we'll do this again this offseason. Like, he just loves the game and works so hard. The preparation, that's when a lot of guys, Dan, know that they're done, right? Is when they don't enjoy the preparation anymore. The being the first one to the ballpark, working in the cage with the young kids at 6 in the morning. But that's what he does, and he still loves it.
But how about how well he is throwing the ball this spring, too? I mean, he is throwing very well. He's lined out tonight. That's a single, so he's 1 for 2. And he came in hitting .273 this spring with a home run. And the home run that he hit was one of the hardest balls he's hit in the last 3 years.
That was a pretty one.
Yeah.
Night game. Off the wall out there and left, off the Marlins complex.
A ball and a strike here on Justin Williams. He struck out back in the 2nd inning. And Williams rips it into right. DeYoung is going to be held up at third as they went for a force play at second, and the bases are loaded. He's another one. The ball jumps off his bat. It's just more consistency getting the ball in play.
That's what the Cardinals are looking for, is for Justin Williams to be aggressive in the strike zone, and you see it there. One thing that they've been trying to tinker with his swing is to get him to get the ball up in the air a little bit more. Always been a hard contact guy, but kind of a lot of ground balls, so there's a little bit of a shift that goes into that. But we've seen it, man. When he gets one up in the air, it goes.
It's Mel Stottlemyre Jr., the pitching coach of the Marlins, out to visit with Pablo Lopez. The bases are loaded, and the Cardinals will have Austin Dean coming up. Dean grounded out to short his first time up. So the inning started. It was harmless. Arenado, ground ball to third, grounded out. Then DeYoung, the little bloop into left. Molina, single into left. Williams, base hit into right, and they're all loaded up. The tying runs in scoring position. And the go-ahead run is at first base. 4-2 our score. And the first pitch to Dean.
You know Austin Dean wants to come unglued on a fastball.
And he might. That call going the way of Lopez. And it is 1 ball and 1 strike. Almost the identical pitch. 2-1 the count. Into center and a base hit. 1 run is in. That's DeYoung. Yachty is held up. Cuts a lead to 4-3. Austin Dean with a single and an RBI. 4 consecutive singles for the Cardinals.
Keeping it moving. Dean got a center cut fastball right there. Serves it into center field. You know you're not going to push it with Yachty there, although he's running hard. Yachty takes nothing for granted, like in spring training. He plays every game. I don't care if it's spring training or it's late in the season. He's taking every rep like it means something big.
Thomas grounded out to third, 0 for 1. Hit up the middle, could be 2, botched, tough delivery, and out. 4-6-3. How about the hands of Rojas with a bullet at his chest? on the delivery from Eason Diaz. 12th, 13th, 14th, when the Cardinals host Washington, take home an adult puffy vest. And that's courtesy of Bayer. So add that to your Cardinals fashion with a must-have promo. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. The sun setting down in Florida, 4-3 our score, top of 5. It was a very tough turn on the double play, and you could see that Rojas may have been handcuffed on that delivery, but really good hands. He's noted as a fine defender, and he showed it there.
Yeah, no, certainly. And then we're talking about a momentum shifter, right? One pitch that ends up getting him out of an inning right here. Defensively, well played, but that ball takes that awkward hop. Had to be really quick. Lane moves well. Could have been a bigger inning for the Cardinals. Love to see Ponce be able to close this 5th frame out. 64 pitches again. 85-ish was where Mike Shildt said he'd probably be today as far as pitch count goes.
Here's Starling Marte showing bunt, pulled back, took a ball. He's lined out to right and also walked. Long-time Pittsburgh Pirate. Popped up. Playable for Molina and makes the catch. Jesus Aguilar grounded out to short and also a base hit to center. It's been interesting. We've only seen Jack Flaherty in one of the games that we've televised, and that was very early on in spring. They've been using him a lot in the backfields, and that may be a trend not only for the remainder of this spring, but in years going forward, and how the Cardinals do their business with their starters.
Remember a couple of years ago, it was Miles Michaelis. They got a lot of his work in on the backfields, and it provides a few things. First of all, the opposition doesn't see you as much, and you get to tinker a little bit more too.
And the curveball is lifted in the air. Out to center. You could tell Aguilar wanted that one back. Flies out to center, 1 for 3 tonight.
The right fielder, number 14, Adam Duvall.
So he has a chance at a very efficient inning here. 68 pitches, and if he gets Duvall quickly, maybe you push him back out there for the 6th.
They like seeing that for sure. Even that 4th inning, 11 pitches. Remember that inning started with a walk, so he was able to bounce back quickly from that one.
Duvall has been a major part of the offense for the Marlins tonight. Solo home run back in the 2nd. And an RBI triple that scored 2 in the 3rd. 2 for 2 tonight. The 0-1. It's really an interesting year for Daniel Ponce de Leon. He finished up 1-3. Appeared in 9 games and made 8 starts. And remember, at one point he was even sent back down to the satellite camp, and then when he came back up was tremendous. High in the air, left field, and Austin Dean is there to make the catch. So a 1-2-3 for Daniel Ponce de Leon. His spot is due up first when we come back. For Daniel Ponce de Leon, Andrew Kisner will pinch hit for him. And what did you think, Brad?
Well, I liked it. Look, 5 strong innings for Daniel Ponce de Leon. I like the way that he bounced back, specifically in the 4th and the 5th. 3rd inning kind of got away from him a little bit, but showed command of the fastball. We saw a few breaking balls, especially early, that were really good. And I think a really positive outing here for Daniel Ponce de Leon.
Is that John Gant right there in the dugout?
I was just going to ask you the same thing. We get a new guy?
Who is that?
I think so.
Now, I knew that was Daniel Ponce de Leon, but yeah, right there. Talking to Miles Michaelis, I believe that is John Gant.
No, that's not. That's Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
That is certainly a new look.
I'm thinking about doing that.
Are you?
Yeah, maybe.
It's going to take you a few months, maybe a year.
That's a good look. John Gant could do no wrong.
He is good at baseball.
That's what they say. He looked really good the other day, too. Think about having a lot of options there in that rotation. John Gant's been so valuable, a guy that can go back and forth between the bullpen and the rotation.
Kisner, a good spring. He is 7 for 21. No home runs. He has driven in 3. Wonder how long it took John Gant, whoever did that, to do that. I mean, that's a lot of hair in which you've got to make sure and braid it properly.
Well, maybe this will help as a reference point. I had to do my daughter's hair before school today. It took me 30 minutes to do a ponytail.
Right.
So
I've been there, done that too.
Probably a couple days.
Yep. Maybe right after the start.
I'd say. Working overnight.
Iced up the arm, did his running, whatever, and then let's go ahead and do that.
You can't do that yourself, right?
What would you call that?
Awesome, I think.
Okay, all right.
I just think it's just awesome.
Okay.
Not exactly sure what the technical term is.
All right. 3-2 pitch. Kisner pulls it foul. We both were on a caravan with John Gant. He's fun to be around.
He's great.
Yep.
He is great. Cardinals, they do a really good job of not only bringing in the right pieces, but the right people. Like, that's kind of part of the culture overall is you got to have the right guys, the right personalities. He's got one.
And the 3-2 on the ground is short. Kisner is the first out.
So drastic differences in styles.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying which one's better. It doesn't matter, whatever you're into. I don't think I could pull off either one of those, Dan.
No, you could.
I don't know.
Y'all know you could. There is no doubt you could do that.
Which one? Which one do you think I could pull off
I think
better?
either way. I think the hair on top of your head is best for you.
Okay.
And I'm saying that because I wanted you to be protected from the sun.
You're picturing me bald right now, aren't you?
Well, I just think you need a little sun protection.
That's the truth. That is the truth. Look like a tomato.
So I think just out of health concerns, maybe the hair would be best.
I appreciate that.
I've got your best interest in mind. And a ground ball. Aguilar will take it. And Tommy is 0 for 3. Tyler Webb, as we mentioned earlier, throwing in the Cardinal pen. Brings in Paul Goldschmidt. And the Cardinal first baseman tonight is 1 for 2 with a double inside the third base line and struck out swinging. And that's going to be it for Pablo Lopez. 71 pitches, and we'll tell you about the change for the Marlins when we come back in a 4-3 game. James Hoyt is the new pitcher for Miami. 2 outs in the home half of the 5th. And nobody on. Paul Goldschmidt will be the batter. 4-3 our score. Coming up next half inning, we're going to hear from Tyler O'Neill. He had a chance to visit with our very own Jim Hayes. It'd be great to see and visit with Jim once opening day gets here in a couple of weeks from today. I miss the cat. First pitch and a strike. I miss Jim being able to get down there with the players and be one-on-one with them. He gets a lot of good stuff.
He gets great stuff.
We're not too far away. Maybe second half of the season. What do you think?
I think so, man. Look, at this point, we're trending in a positive direction. I think that's all you can say when you look at it. And who knows as far as restrictions go and what they'll do. Maybe Major League Baseball will say, look, it's working for the season. We'll mix it up next year. Who knows? But we're getting closer and closer.
Yep.
And the band's getting all together again.
James Hoyt, we have seen him pitch with Atlanta, Houston, Cleveland, and the Marlins. He was traded to Miami last year, early August. Came over from Cleveland.
Sometimes it takes a little while, too, to have that kind of breakout year. Last year was that for Hoyt.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really good for them last year. 24 games, 14 2/3, had a 1.23 ERA. I mean, he was solid.
The 2-2. I think it's going to be fascinating to see that, and no one's really talking about it because of the excitement of Arenado, but if Arenado hits behind Goldschmidt the kind of year that Paul can have, he's got protection.
Yeah. No, and I know Paul kind of talked about it a little bit earlier in spring, and he said it doesn't really change how he goes about things. I mean, he's very process-driven, but there should be more events where he gets pitched to.
I mean, you've done it for a living. You've been on that mound. I mean, you got these two guys coming at you. It's pick your poison.
Yeah, last year, I'll tell you right now, I'm pitching around Goldie every single time, and I'll let somebody else beat me. Now you have some other guys to worry about.
Arenado is 0 for 2, and here comes his first Cardinal home run.
Did you just call that?
I did.
On your birthday? Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh,
Dan.
thank you, Brad.
I know I've told you before, but I haven't told you on air.
That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Not sure if I believe you.
No, it does. But this would be the birthday present I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Arenado's first Cardinal home run, and it's going to happen in this plate appearance. So are you not with me here on the Arenado home run?
I'm with you. This is your moment, Dan. It's your day.
All right. Now moving into a hitter's count, 2-1. Maybe they try to bust him in a little bit, maybe hang a breaking ball. He's hung a couple here. He's getting a feel for it, and Nolan's ready for it and says, I'm ready. I'm ready to bust out with my first Cardinal home run. Spring training and all. And the 2-1 pitch. Ooh. Can he find it? He does. That was the kind of pitch that maybe, just maybe, you get.
Still your birthday, Dan.
Thanks.
Happy birthday.
But another birthday present I have, the cat and Tyler O'Neill. Does it get any better than that? I don't think so. No, no, no. Tyler O'Neill and the cat. That visit is next. It's a 4-3 game as we move to the 6th inning, and let's hear from the cat and Tyler O'Neill.
Always a pleasure to catch up with Tyler O'Neill. So, Tyler, you're having a very, very good spring training. When you came into camp, did you change your approach at all? It looks like you're having an easier time with the outside breaking stuff. It looks like you may have shortened up your swing just a bit.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine hitting balls hard the other way right now and just kind of letting my body take control after that. Just trusting my eyes, trusting my hands, trusting to recognize pitches and trusting my ability to be able to hit those hard somewhere. And just being able to do that has helped me stay on breaking balls and hit them hard on the pull side and stay inside on fastballs.
Have you adapted your swing at all to accomplish that?
I don't know. I mean, it's just a feel thing for me up there right now. Just making sure that I'm on time, and again, just trying to hit the ball hard the other way is a good starting point for me.
In terms of how you feel at camp, they talked about letting guys like yourself have the opportunity, and you've taken it and run with it. In terms of how you feel at the plate, how you feel in the field, confidence level, where are you right now? It's got to be pretty hot.
Yeah, I feel pretty good, Jim. I just really tried to simplify things this year, just go out and have fun, play the game like I know that I can play the game, and just prove to everybody the kind of player that I know that I am. I just want to help the boys win any way that I can, and just taking good at bats and getting the reads out in the field and putting my work on the defensive side of the ball is going to do that.
The fact that the Cardinals went with what they have in terms of outfielders right now, that they're confident in guys like you, Bader, Dillon, Lane Thomas. What does that say to you guys as a group, that they didn't try to go out and get a veteran bat, that they believe you guys will be good there?
Yeah, definitely. You got Dean and Williams too. You know, we all got a lot of ability here. So, you know, they believe that internally, and it's up to us to bust out and really show everybody that they're right for having our backs. And you know, we're all here doing the same thing. We're all trying to compete and win ball games. So, you know, I think we've done a really good job collectively at identifying what we need to do to be successful, and individually, and you know, that'll definitely help on the team side.
What's your relationship like with those guys as a group? You mentioned a lot of talent out there.
Yeah, I mean, we're working together every day. We're getting our reps in every day together. See them all the time. Obviously, we're in the locker rooms all the time. So, you know, we got a great relationship. We're all here to help each other and win ball games again.
Tell me a little bit about Dylan Carlson, a guy who went to the alternate camp, came up and made some adjustments and became, I think, what everyone was expecting from Carlson. What's he like as a teammate?
Yeah, great guy. A little quiet at first, but you know, he's starting to ease in there, and you know, he's got great skill and everything. So you know, he's dynamic on the field and at the plate. So we're excited for what he can do for this ball club.
For a guy like you who has basically, you know, part of it, as you even mentioned, is the way you look and everything, because you're a big guy who concentrates on weight training. When you look at what you're trying to do at the plate, instead of mashing home runs, but you don't want to lose that either, how much of it is a balance for you, making sure that you're a complete hitter without not being able to drive the ball the way you want to? How much of a balance is that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to simplify things up there, not think too much, trust my ability, you know, making sure that I do my prep work and get my due diligence in there daily. You know, I'm always working. I'm standing in my living room, getting my load right, and just visualizing myself doing what I know that I have to do to be successful, and to keep my swing on plane as long as possible, and just correcting that path. You know, it's working so far. We're just going to keep running with that.
Has life changed for you now that you're an engaged man, or is it pretty much just the way it's always been?
Yeah, well, not too much. I mean, COVID has us laying low, obviously. You know, no need to take unnecessary risks this time, this day and age. But you know, we're enjoying the engaged life right now, and you know, we'll see when it's time to get married.
Are you the boss of the house?
All right, Jimmy, thank you. And I wanted to hear who the boss of the house was.
Look, there's a reason we probably cut it off where we cut it off.
Okay. We're keeping him out of trouble.
Save him.
Yeah.
One way or the other, right?
I love Jimmy's interviews.
It's great.
Tyler O'Neill got engaged this offseason. There's a good fastball and a strikeout of Alfaro. Second strikeout for Webb after the walk to Diaz. Struck out Anderson also in this 6th inning. Tyler O'Neill's had a heck of a camp. He's 13 for 27. That's a .481 average. 2 home runs, and he's driven in 8. So he has been one of the great positives of this camp.
Yeah, he has. And by the way, look at the numbers here. Tyler Webb, he's been pretty darn good as well. But going back to O'Neill, you knew coming in, you kind of penciled his name in left field. Figured he'd get first crack at it at the very least. Well, you're Sharpieing that thing in now, watching the adjustments that he's made. And I love hearing him talk about it, the idea of trusting his hands, because his hands are so fast anyhow. Felt like last year a little bit, he got into the mode of like anticipating, like waiting for something to happen, trying to think ahead. He was out in front. Yeah, and then like he'd be waiting on the breaking ball, then the fastball would beat him. Like right now he's just trusting himself, and we're seeing it pay dividends.
It's Mendoza now at first base, and Nolan Gorman is taken over at third for Arenado. So Goldschmidt and Arenado are out of the ball game. Well, he's got lightning quick hands with the bat, and so you are letting him see the ball go deeper. He's taking it to the other way, and that's lined the other way down into the corner. Diaz on his way to third. They're going to wave him in. The relay to the plate. It's in time, and got him. A strike to the plate. Edman on a hop to Yachty. 4-3. 3-6-0 for the Cardinals in this ball game as we move to the bottom of the 6th, and it stays at just a one-run game thanks to this relay.
A good job of digging it out of the corner, and Tommy Edman with the nice throw. You see the big long bounce, and he catches another one right before it gets to Yachty. Kids, that's by design. All right, Tommy Edman can make it there in the air, certainly, but a nice long hop right there that gives you the best ability to kind of catch it and tag. So a nice play. Those are the ones as a manager you love seeing come to fruition in a spring training game. And for the Marlins side, you're going to push it. You want to make the opposition make the play against you.
There's Paul DeJong, 2 for 2 tonight. 2-run homer back in the first. Single to left and scored on the bases loaded single by Austin Dean in the 4th. '97 taken inside.
Catcher is number 17, Chad Wallach.
Zach Pop is the new pitcher. Chad Wallach is taken over behind the plate. Pop has appeared in 2 games this spring, 2 innings, scoreless. Yanks that for a ball, 3 balls and 1 strike. From Canada, out of Ontario, the 24-year-old big guy, 6'4", 220 pounds. Well, tonight, one way or another, you'd have to think this is a step in the right direction for Paul DeJong. 2 hits and maybe counting. 3-1 pitch. 3-2 on a high fastball.
Yeah, you know that home run in the first inning felt good. Couple of pops there. Zach Pop on the left, Pop Warner on the right. Of no relation, Dan.
No,
as far as
no, that's a nickname, Pop Warner.
Look, I'm not a doctor.
As DeJong lifts a high fly ball into right field, and the catch is made. Adam Duvall. Really, it had nothing to do with being a doctor. There's just no relation.
Yeah, well, I'm not a genealogist, or I don't.
It had nothing to do with any of those. There's just no relation.
Oh, Pop and Pop.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just trying to make sure you're on the same page and focused and locked in on this spring training contest.
Just the analyst here trying to dig in.
Gotcha. Here's Molina, who lined out and singled. Looking at that replay, I thought the throw by Tommy Edman was on a hop. It actually, as you pointed out, it's kind of a late short hop at the end. Real good hands there by Yachty, because you're thinking, okay, here comes this runner. You don't really see him except out of the corner of your eye. Now, he did give him a lane to go and slide, which you're supposed to do. But you have that. That's distracting. And then you have the short hop coming in hard. It's a good play. Not easily done.
It's almost like he's done it a time or two.
He has a time or two. Genesis Cabrera, lefty, throwing in the Cardinals pen. 0-2 the count on Yadier Molina. Wouldn't have seemed right if Yachty got hit number 2,000 without fans in the ballpark, and that would be the last time we'd see him at Busch Stadium wearing a Cardinal uniform. But fans will be in the ballpark starting opening day this year.
Yeah, there's going to be some ovations, aren't there?
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun year.
And Yachty hits it sharply to short. 2 away. So Zach Pop has gotten the first 2. And it brings in Justin Williams. 2 outs, nobody on. Williams has struck out swinging and picked up a base hit to right with 2 runners on. They did not score the runner. Ball was stung, so they held up at the time. Paul DeYoung to load him up for Dean, and he brought him in with a base hit. Nothing in 2. The shift on the right side for Justin Williams. And that is what you would call a major shift. Players.
I'm still not used to that. Like I know it's been happening forever. I'm still not used to seeing the entire team stacked on one side.
Yeah.
Now, from a pitcher standpoint here with Pop, I mean, you're going to try to tie him up. You're going to try to make sure he can't just hit an easy ground ball the other way. So you're going to be pitching in there into that, because as easy as it looks, right? So we're watching this. We see the shift on the right side, and everybody is over there. I think that the bat boy is in right. They got them all. But it's not that easy just to hit a ground ball to the left side when you're getting pumped in.
The 2-2. That'll be a base hit. That's how you beat the shift.
That's it. That's a laser in the books right there. Williams smiling. Just off the end of the bat. Pop caught more of the plate with that pitch, I think, than he wanted to, but Williams had that swing. He was going to try to pull the ball.
Boy, Aguilar likes to have some conversations over there at first, doesn't he?
I was cracking up the first batter of the game when Tommy Edman scorched one to second base. You could hear Aguilar say, "Nice hit, you're out though." Hit it hard, but you're out.
He looks like he likes to have fun. See him smile all the time. He was like that when we would see him a bunch with Milwaukee.
We saw him hit some monster home runs too.
He's got great power.
There's one that I still remember. I'm sure he does as well, off of Jack Flaherty, and I think Flaherty had a no-hitter going on at the time, and that was the one that ended up busting
that too.
It up, and it was a shot.
Now he's even brought in Stubby Clapp.
Well, Stubby's an easy guy to talk to.
Nice guy. Yeah.
Super cordial.
Aguilar was an all-star a couple years ago. So 2 outs and a runner at first. And here is Austin Dean with the Cardinals down by a run here in the bottom of the 6th. You were telling me about what team was it? Independent baseball?
Oh, the Savannah Bananas?
Yeah.
That we were having the conversation about?
I'm not sure if baseball is going to go that far with some of their ideas, but they are interesting to say the least.
Hey, the Savannah Bananas are thinking about trying a bunch of random different things this year. And we spent a little time the other day talking about different changes that Major League Baseball is implementing in the minor leagues at a few of the levels. AAA, they're going to be looking at bigger bases instead of a 15 by 15, looking at 18 by 18. AA, their shifts. But what do you think about a foul ball being caught by a fan and it's an out there? Because that's Savannah Banana style.
So you got to bring your glove, because really you could help out the Bananas.
Yeah, this is great. Now, here are the minor league rules experiment. And I think that experiment is a fantastic way to put this.
I like some of these.
That's which one?
Well, there's a bunch. First
I don't like the low A stuff, the A ball.
The step-offs?
Yeah, I just, or the limiting pickoffs to 2. I don't like it.
I think enlarging the bag, we talked about it being bang-bang with a lot of plays. I think that could enhance base stealing or those quick plays. I think you have to limit the shift. I'm coming to the conclusion that you got to limit it, like what we just saw with Justin Williams.
We just saw a base hit with Justin Williams.
Yes, we did. Or maybe somebody would say, well, learn how to hit against the shift, which I understand that too. But with the shift that they're going to have in the minor leagues, you have to keep your feet, the dirt, have got to be on the infield.
Yeah.
And they're saying they're maybe going to limit to where second baseman doesn't go on the shortstop side and vice versa.
Yeah, that's a tweak they might make in Double-A after the All-Star break.
Right.
We'll see how it goes the first time. They're just going to stop you from being in the outfield as an infielder. I don't know. Look, I think that Major League Baseball is trying to speed up their game. They're trying to create more action. So you totally understand that part of it.
The 3-2 pitch to Dean. Hits it the other way and a base hit. Justin Williams to third. And a 2-hit night for Austin Dean.
It's a good piece of hitting right there. Ball's down and away. Justin Williams, good job picking up Pop Warner over there at third. He knew exactly where his outfielders were. So, Dan, with the whole foul ball thing being an out potentially, I could see you being a kind of guy that dives for something in the stands, knowing it's going to help your team.
Oh, if it's going to help my team?
Yeah.
You bet. But
could create a little bit of a problem if everybody's diving after
that's
stuff.
a problem. And I'll tell you this, if I get that souvenir, it's going to a youngster.
Well, as it should.
Absolutely. Going to a kid.
How do you feel about walks, Dan? Do you find walks entertaining?
Not necessarily.
What about if there were no walks and on ball 4 you just started running until the opposition, all right, the team that is on defense has to throw the ball to everybody on the field, and then they can try to get you out?
And that's happening with the Bananas.
Savannah Bananas.
Not sure I like that rule, although there's entertainment with it.
Well, think about it.
There is a strike to Lane Thomas. Came up with the bases loaded, grounded into a 4-6-3 inning-ending double play back in the fourth. Also grounded out to third, and he's 0 for 2. Thomas lines it into a shift. I'm just saying, with the shift.
Shifts, get rid of them.
The exclusive Kids Club is back. The Cardinals Kids Club presented by Rawlings. For kids 13 and under, membership includes a fleece blanket, wall sign, monthly virtual events featuring special guests. And it's all for $33. Join at cardinals.com/Kids Club. Genesis Cabrera is in. Brad's going to tell you all about him.
Look, Genesis Cabrera is one of those guys out of the bullpen that you don't want to face, Dan. He's running up there, upper 90s. He's got the big breaking ball, mixing the changeup. We've already seen Genesis in some big games for the Cardinals. I got a feeling we're going to see him in a lot more. It'll be fun to kind of see how his role evolves. Cardinals have few good options from the left side. Andrew Miller, we already saw Webb in this game.
And the 0-1 pitch taken for strike, 0-2. The 0-2 pitch. And a strikeout for Genesis Cabrera. That pitch at 96. You know, last year there was no starter that averaged 5 innings per start. And so you wonder how that plays into this season, not just for the Cardinals, but across Major League Baseball, and the importance of having relievers that can give you multi-innings appearances. And this is Genesis Cabrera. It's Alex Reyes, maybe a John Gant, Daniel Ponce de Leon, and others. Ryan Helsley. But this is where the Cardinals might be able to separate themselves from other teams.
Yeah, certainly. And even guys that'll probably, and nothing set in stone at this point, but probably start the season as like AAA depth or going to the alternate site. But Johan Oviedo showed up last year big time for you. Jake Woodford. Like, you have so many different options out there. But that's going to be part of the equation also, because we spent a lot of time talking about the starters and how we limit their innings. Well, you're also going to have to limit the workload for these bullpen guys too. So that comes, you know, part of the equation. We joked around the other day about Mike Maddox, Mike Schilt, them kind of mapping it out, looking like the movie A Beautiful Mind, where there's stuff scrawled all over the walls. But it's not easy. You got to have an idea, first of all, of you know what everybody is capable of. You got to trust your eyes. You got to have constant communication with your pitching staff, which I know this organization, this staff does such a good job of. But it's not going to be easy to piece it all together, but certainly an advantage there for the Cardinals.
So Lewis Brinson, he is 3 for 19 this spring for Miami. Oh, look what I found, and what a play. Genesis Cabrera, and staying on the bag, Mendoza. Look what I found all around, and they get the out.
Like a cat out there. Kind of falls off a little bit to the third base side. He was tracking it the whole way. Got a little squirrely on the throw. That's all right. They ended up getting it done. That's it. Cabrera knew he didn't have time to fully turn around. Had a good eye on that thing. Brinson runs really well, too, so if that gets past him, it's got a good chance of being an infield single.
And Caesars in left. Thomas still in the game. Rondon is taking over at second. He's had a great camp. Mentioned Nolan Gorman at third, and that's Heineman now behind the plate for St. Louis. I'm intrigued with Rondon at second. Picked him up in the offseason. He's not on the 40-man, but he's had a really good camp.
Yeah, he's shown off some power. The glove works for sure. Can play anywhere in the infield. Got a feeling you'll see him.
Marte out to center. Thomas back at the wall, and it's off the wall. And that'll be a triple for Starling Marte.
See the ball really carrying to that part of the ballpark. He hit this thing well. You could tell Marte kind of thought it was going to be gone. Probably in most ballparks it is. Roger Dean Stadium plays pretty big. See if Cabrera can strand him there.
Now Jesus Aguilar, 1 for 3 tonight. Grounded out to short, base hit to center, and fly to center. Wonder as I look back at that if Thomas misjudged his jump just a bit.
Looks like he had a beat on it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Fastball in 96, in for a strike. Big curveball taken high. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike. A lot of room on the right side of the infield. And the outfield fairly deep for Aguilar. Good fastball again. Our next telecast will be Saturday at noon, and then beginning Monday, 3 in a row. As we edge ever closer to that opening day in Cincinnati. And the 1-2 pitch. Fought off. Soft liner. Rondon is there. Time to stretch in a one-run ball game. Fox Sports Midwest is becoming Bally Sports Midwest. Bally Sports will be the new network of your favorite team starting March 31st. Richard Blyer, a left-hander, is in. 33-year-old out of Davie, Florida. Home half of the 7th. 4-3 in favor of the Marlins. It's been with the Yankees, the Orioles, and now the Marlins. John Nagowski, all he's doing this spring training is hitting. And he may hit his way onto the roster.
The guy gets on base. He works counts. He's aggressive. You look at the skill set and you want to be able to find a spot, right? I mean, there's going to have to be some manipulation to your roster, but golly, a table setter.
I love watching the guy play.
I do too.
O'Neill, Nagowski, Thomas, Kisner, Rondon. Some of the spring standouts. Nagowski, natural position would be a first baseman. He's the oddity, by the way, of someone that is hitting from the right side, but yet throws left-handed. You don't see that very often. And if you do see something like that, it's the other way, not that way.
Yeah.
But he also can play the outfield. He's told me he played a little outfield at Florida State. Close. Back in there.
Yeah, I know that's something that Mike Schilt has been asked about a couple of times during camp, if they're going to try to get him some reps out in the outfield. And Schilt has maintained, look, I got a lot of outfielders that I want to get reps to, give them the opportunity kind of before that happens. But versatility is key, and getting on base is key.
John is now 7 for 19, and he's driven in 8. That's tied for the team lead with Tyler O'Neill this spring. And he gives you such a great competitive at bat late in games. And that's a role that he also could play for this team. So he's making this decision tough for them. And so is Rondon, who's at the plate. It's Lewin Diaz now, the first baseman for the Marlins.
These are some of these at-bats late in the game. We just spent some time talking about Nagowski, now Rondon up. These are the ones late. The stars are out, right? Arenado's gone. Goldie's gone. These are the at-bats, and these are the times in the game where your staff is watching even more intently, because you want to see what some of these guys can do with these opportunities that they're given. And it's going to be an at-bat in the 7th, 8th inning of a game, maybe against the Marlins, that puts you on a team, or you make an impression that you're the first phone call that they make.
Sure. There's a 1-2. Rondon chops it up the middle. Double play ball, a flip, a turn, and out at first. New replay, obviously, in spring training games. 4-6-3 on the double play. Jazz Chisholm, we talked about him earlier in the ball game. He could be their everyday second baseman. I'm not sure he was out at second or first.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Blyer pitched for Team Israel in the World Baseball Classic, and you know who may be pitching again for Team Israel?
I think I do. Jason Marquis.
Talked to him 2 days ago, and he's planning on doing it again. The former Cardinal. There's Nolan Gorman.
Remember running into him, would have been 2 years ago. He was working a game when we saw him at Dodger Stadium.
It's at Dodger Stadium.
And I'm like, Keister, what are you up to, man? He's like, I'm still long tossing. And
yeah.
What do you mean you're still long tossing?
Yep. Gorman with a base hit into center. I don't know about you. I think we're going to love watching this kid play baseball.
Looks the part, doesn't he?
Yep.
Already.
Strong kid, just getting stronger too. We got to remember how young Nolan Gorman still is. Going to be learning a new position at second base, and apparently so far so good with the, I wouldn't call it an experiment, I'd just call it the change. I mean, when you have a future Hall of Famer that gets traded to your team, you're going to have to move. That's kind of all there is to it, and he is very capable. You know the bat's going to play, but it's about getting reps. I look at last year, the lost season, it's damaging to any minor league player, you know, pitcher or position player, but I really look at the position players as the ones that really needed the reps the most. It's live action, seeing in the upper levels of the minor leagues, AA, AAA, and again, a reminder, Nolan Gorman hasn't played above A ball yet to this point. Those are the reps that hurt and kind of slow down the process a little bit.
Mendoza, little flare out to shallow center. That drops in. Runners at the corners for St. Louis. I think what's going to be curious as you get a look at Mendoza fighting this off is how much will the Cardinals put Nolan Gorman in these minor league games at third, at second, or even in the outfield? Because, I mean, look, his path to the big leagues is blocked by Nolan Arenado. It's just a fact.
I don't have the big office, so I don't make these type of decisions, but I'm not playing him much at third base. I'm playing him at second. I'm going to let him learn his new position. And I know that Nolan talked the other day about the transition, and the idea of playing the outfield was brought up as well, because he's done a little bit of that, working in spring training, taking some reps out there. And he said, hey, I'd like to stay on the dirt as long as possible. I'd like to be able to do that. And fine, we'll give you all the reps over at second base. Go for it.
First plate appearance, Max Moroff. Signed to give the Cardinals some infield depth. Does have major league experience. 1 ball and 1 strike. Gorman, the tying run down at third. One ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, Jason Marquis said he's coaching a youth team. I think he said his son is either 13 or 14. I said, how could you possibly be in shape to do this? He said, I long toss. I'm throwing BP. I'll get in shape. No problem. Okay.
I don't put it past him.
No.
At all. He's one, if he's watching our broadcast earlier talking about the DH potentially, he doesn't like that conversation at all. Jason Marquis liked to swing it a little bit.
Silver Slugger award winner in 2005. So, yeah, he's a good athlete.
Did a fantasy camp, and he's done multiple of them. But I remember one specifically a couple of years back in Cooperstown. And Keister's just dropping bombs at Doubleday onto people's homes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I bet that was fun to go to.
Oh. I felt like a little kid.
Yeah.
I felt like a little kid, and the Cardinals do such a great job with their fantasy camps, and it's just such a neat experience. And even being a former player, like to be a part of those is so special, and the campers have so much fun. But the idea of feeling like a little kid, you stay right there. You're in Cooperstown. You get full uni, Dan, and you walk to Doubleday Field. You're walking like through the neighborhood like you were a kid. You got your bag, and you're just going through town.
That's great.
It was the neatest experience, and it's the first and only time I had been to Cooperstown. So getting that feel, and I recommend for anybody that loves baseball, if you ever get a chance to go to Cooperstown, go, because you feel like you just get kind of morphed into a whole new world. Like it's such a neat place.
Cardinals, obviously the camp got postponed this year, but they're going to have one in early November next year. Joe Pfeiffer and Larry State, they run the alumni of the Cardinals. Fantastic job that they do there. And one David Freese, we're told, will be a part of that too. There's a swing and a miss by Moroff, and Alex Reyes has been getting loose, and we'll see if he's coming into the game. Head to the 8th. It's 4th. Look at our upcoming schedule. What's on tap is brought to you by Budweiser. Saturday at noon. Cardinals and the Astros, off day on Sunday, and then we'll have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The final spring game will be on the 27th against these Marlins at 5, and then we'll have the season opener for you against Cincinnati. Alex Reyes is into the ball game for the Cardinals. They've out-hit the Marlins 11-6, but they trail 4-3. So those are the numbers in spring for Alex, and he's been really good. 5 innings, only 2 hits allowed, no walks, 7 strikeouts.
That's the number I like the most, is that big goose egg in the walk category. Reyes has just been competing within the strike zone, and he just looks so in control of himself, of his mechanics, of his emotions. He looks just healthy.
Yeah.
And ready to rock and roll this year.
I want you to take a look at how he is throwing the ball. And in your opinion, Brad, is he shortened it up a little bit with his delivery? And maybe you can explain that and see what you're seeing with the arm. We're in the top of the 8th of a 4-3 game.
It definitely, and this is something we've noticed, all spring, it looks shorter out of his hand. A lot of times for a pitcher, you hear about a long arm swing, like the ball drops out and big long arm. Reyes, we're seeing a lot of pitchers actually do this more, the shorter arm arc. So he pulls out of his glove, arm never gets fully extended until a release. Jordan Hicks, his arm, the arm path is a little bit shorter this year for him, and it appears to be working since he's throwing 102 again.
Yeah, things are just fine. Here's an 0-2 pitch. Curveball, goodbye. Holy smokes. Oh my.
Good luck.
Oh my goodness.
Good luck.
Wow.
The shortstop, number 65, Eddie Alvarez.
I mean, that's 12-6, spinning like crazy. And you could just tell, couldn't even think about pulling the trigger right there.
Wow. So 1 out, nobody on. $90-mile-an-hour changeup.
No big deal. So again, you look here how tight and compact the ball comes out of the glove and just gets up. The one really nice thing about the shorter arm arc is mechanically it's one less moving part. Like sometimes when you have the long arm, your arm drags. There's really no arm drag. It's quick out, not as quick as a catcher, obviously. The catcher arm kind of goes back and right to the ear. But the hand just gets out and gets to work. He's able to get on top of that.
And the 1-1 pitch by Reyes. Well, you got to figure that, Reyes all goes to plan, eventually moves into the starting rotation. When that happens, who knows? It's not going to be at the beginning of the season, may not be this season at all. Probably you're looking at 2022. There's been a number thrown out of 100 innings, which would be tough to get to coming out of the pen. So how do you think they use Alex Reyes this year?
Yeah, I think that you use him like you used him last year. I think that you have a good game that you want to get him in, a tight game late. That's where he goes. I think that we could see Reyes come in relief in 1 inning, finish that one, and then throw multiple, give you an inning and 2/3. He can give you 2 innings here and there. But I don't think that you get caught up on the number. You don't get caught up on, oh, well, we've got to get him 100 innings. Do we need to piggyback him here and there? Alex Reyes is going to be this year one of the best relievers in baseball. So you're going to get him in some of the best games. I don't worry about, all right, I got to get to 100 innings and I'm just going to throw him in games just to throw him in games. He's going to help you win a lot of ball games. So you'll see him a lot like he was deployed last year, I think. I think you could see him, even if he gets 70-something innings, but those are all high-leverage innings, I think that's a huge bonus for you as a club. And then he'll be able to catapult to next year. The key for him is stay healthy.
Yeah.
If you just pitch a full year out of the bullpen, being a guy they go to a lot, you're going to be fine for next year.
Well, with the curveball on 3-2, and that is the first walk of the spring for Alex Reyes.
Up next is number 62, Joe Jimenez.
So 1 out and a runner at first. You know, I'd be fascinated, and one of the great things about spring training for us is that the press box, because it's a minor league park, we many times have a chance to sit down and have a lunch with the scouts. I'd be fascinated with what they see, those that are in the game day in and day out, watching Reyes and just their observations. You know, seeing his mechanics, it looks like, have changed a little bit. He's obviously been a little bit more consistent here this spring. The velocity, what they're getting on their guns, the sharpness of his breaking pitches, but it has been impressive by all accounts.
Yeah, I would say from that standpoint, he would be very highly sought after by every club that would be looking to make a deal. And the Cardinals, you know, years ago made it very evident that he's their guy. He wasn't going anywhere. Any trades, remember a couple of years ago, everybody was calling asking for Alex Reyes. And he's had some injuries in the last couple of years, certainly, but they love the kid. They love the makeup, and a kid anymore is a prospect. He's a grown man, you know, ready to make that next jump.
1 ball and 1 strike. You know, there have been spring trainings where you've gotten to this point, and again, you know, 2 weeks away from opening day, and you were just hoping that Alex Reyes, you know, can he come out of it injury free? You kind of cross your fingers with that, hold your breath. Would he be consistent? And now it just seems like, okay, the package is now finally all starting to come together. It started last year and it's carried over to this spring training. The 1-1 doesn't chase. 2 balls and a strike. Two strikes now. 2-2.
Just looks like easy 96, doesn't it?
It does. So runner at first, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and a 1-run game here in the top of the 8th. And the next by Reyes, instead of check on the runner over at first base. That's Mendoza again at first base. Opponents are hitting this spring against Alex 118. That's it. He's allowed 2 hits in what has now been 5 1/3 innings. 2-2 pitch. The fly ball out to left, and Caesar won't get there. It's off the base of the wall. A run will score, and that's the first run allowed by Alex Reyes this spring, and that makes it a 5-3 Miami lead.
Reyes throws a fastball here, just kind of center cut, belt high.
Next, the catcher, number 17, Chad Wallace.
Done a really good job all spring of being able to locate that thing, making very few mistakes, but one there.
And the batter is Chad Wallach following the double. A check swing did not go.
Well, you'd love every outing too in spring training to go nice and easy, 1, 2, 3, mow everybody down, Dan. But you also don't mind having a guy work out of some jams. You know, every once in a while you're going to get into something, go get out of it.
Here's a good changeup. 1 ball and 1 strike. So Chad Wallach, the Marlins went with him in their stretch run and then the postseason. And getting the final few innings of this ball game after Alfaro made the start behind the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. And time is called. That pitch taken high. The Cardinals today announced a season-long campaign to honor our friend, and that's longtime broadcaster Mike Shannon. 50th and final season in the broadcast booth as he joined the radio team back in 1972. He had 9 years of playing for the Cardinals and a great run in the 60s. He'll be the 14th announcer in the history of the game to serve as long as 50 years in the booth. Incredible accomplishment. Only 6 announcers to have at least 50 years with one team. There's Rick Horton there in the middle. We'll see him join our television broadcast coming up. The 2-2. Ooh, that's taken just a bit low, and you wonder if Heineman, by jumping up, sometimes that'll cost you those borderline pitches. Not to say it would have. It may have been low, but sometimes
every once in a while, right? Because that's what the umpire sees. Instead of seeing the ball, he kind of ends up seeing your bag. This one a little bit low anyhow.
Yep. Roel Ramirez getting loose in the Cardinals pen. Pitch number 21. Here from Alex Reyes. Curveball, and he struck him out. From Gibby to Goldie, Cardinals Magazine brings you the stories of all the players in the history that you haven't heard about with your favorite Cardinals. Well, you'll get them all. Subscription. Make sure you get one. 314-345-9000. 314-345-9000. Or you can visit cardinals.com/magazine. Cardinals.com/magazine. It's the second time that Ramirez has been up and throwing. Here's Lewin Diaz, first baseman for the Marlins. 5-3 our score in the top of the 8th. And the first pitch, a strike with that changeup. That was twice, Brad, that he went with a 3-2 breaking ball. First time he walked the man that he was facing. That time he went with a curveball. Sometimes you're working on different things too. Not to say you wouldn't do that in a regular season, but you know, he's been a little inconsistent with that curveball.
Yeah, well, early on, he looked like he had a really good feel for him.
Yeah.
We saw the first batter he faced, punched him out looking, but then tried to do a little too much with it a few times.
And that'll be a foul ball, 0-2.
It's always one of the biggest reminders for pitchers. You got to be able to slow yourself down in a situation when the game speeds up. Sometimes you have a tendency to try to do a little bit more, and you try to make a pitch nastier by trying to put more on it, and really it's the location that does it. The ball spins really well out of his hands. He doesn't have to try to throw it harder. He doesn't try to have to make it nastier. Just all about where you put it.
0-2 the count on Lewin Diaz. And Heineman kept that in front somehow, but enough to get away. And again, trying to overcook it maybe a little bit.
Well, it's that same situation I was just talking about. 2 strikes. You want to try to make a pitch nasty. You're trying to bury somebody. And you could just see Reyes right there pull off with that front side. Not sure how that doesn't end up hitting Diaz.
No kidding. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Curveball again, misses down and in. So this really has been the first time we've seen Reyes struggle here in spring training. He's been that good. And the 2-2 pitch by Alex. Off the end of the bat and a foul ball.
He's had a good feel for that pitch, hasn't he?
Yeah, the changeup's been good. Throwing it for strikes.
Yeah, these are those outings too where they're not fun to go through when you're scuffling a little bit and the pitch count's getting up there for you. But you're going to have games like this in the regular season where you just don't have everything. So how do you compete? How do you figure out ways to get outs when maybe you're not at 100% when it comes to your location and just feeling a little bit off?
The 2-2 doesn't chase. The pitch at 97 from Alex.
Well, you know this is his last batter one way or another.
Yep. And the 3-2. And he walked him on a pitch inside. And that's going to be it. So Reyes able to get a couple outs, but that'll be it for Alex. And Ramirez coming on when we come back. St. Louis Cardinal baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. By Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters. And by the Hyundai Spring Upgrade event going on now. Hurry in and get the upgrade you deserve. Roel Ramirez, after the outing by Alex Reyes, first time we've seen him struggle this spring.
It's all right. Hey, you know the key here is he healthy? The answer is yes. Still throwing 97. Fought himself a little bit. These are the games that you go back, and I'm sure that he'll kind of watch it, dig into it, and see what adjustments he needs to make. It looked like he fought himself a little bit there late in that inning. Tried to do a little too much with a couple of pitches, but he'll learn from this and move on.
All you can do. So Ramirez is in, and time is called. This is Birdie, who's in a competition for a spot on the infield for the Marlins. So 2 outs and 2 on. And a fastball just off the plate.
That position, that second base competition, that's really the only competition that the Marlins have.
Yeah.
From a position player standpoint. Certainly there's some juggling to be done in the bullpen still, but that's about it. You know what I find interesting is their mix of outfielders. Like, they've got a veteran outfield, and the thought was they were going to have a young outfield. A few guys that just haven't come to fruition yet. We mentioned Lewis Brinson earlier. Obviously, Magneuris Sierra from
He's
the
out of
Cardinals.
options.
Yep.
So they got to make a decision with him. Corey Dickerson, Starling Marte. We've seen Duvall. So, yeah, that's part of the numbers game with a guy like Magneuris Sierra.
Yeah, and Sierra's not having a very good spring.
No.
We know the speed tool that he has.
And the 1-1 pitch by Roel Ramirez. Curveball, a beauty, doesn't get the call. Well, Ramirez had that inauspicious debut last year against the White Sox. Came in, gave up a bunch of home runs.
Hey,
it happens.
Mama said there'd be days like this,
oh,
right? Yeah, it was one of those situations too where, you know, Mike Schilt didn't want to leave him out there, but you kind of needed some innings. You're in the middle of getting back into things. You have so many different roster moves and changes. Like, you had to be able to get through some innings, and unfortunately, Roel Ramirez ended up giving up 4 home runs in the frame. But the hope for him is he throw the ball well, he's having a nice spring, and get that opportunity again.
Yeah.
And totally change it.
The 2-1 pitch by Ramirez with runners at the corners. Out of play. 2-2. And he comes in and gets a strikeout. Marlins add to their lead. It's 5-3. The 2021 Cardinals Hall of Fame ballot presented by Edward Jones is live now through April 17th. And you can cast your vote for your top deserving players from another great field of candidates. All you have to do is visit cardinals.com/HOF. Steve Carlton, Keith Hernandez, Matty Moe, Edgar Renteria, and Lee Smith. I've been digging into this a little bit. I didn't realize how good a couple. I mean, I know that they're all deserving, and I know that's cliche to say that, but they all are. Edgar Renteria's 2003 season was unbelievable. Go back and just Baseball Reference 2003, hit .330. He's stealing everything. He's winning Silver Slugger, Gold Glove. He was awesome. It's one of the most prolific offensive seasons in the history of the club as a shortstop. Matty Moe had 101 wins and only 62 losses.
Wow.
And a ton of strikeouts. He was a 22-game winner, led the league in wins one year. Keith Hernandez, his on-base percentage as a Cardinal, lifetime as a Cardinal, was .385. 385.
Is that good?
It's pretty darn good. So these are well-deserving candidates on the ballot. So Cardinals.com/HOF.
I love it. I love the Cardinals Hall of Fame, and I just really enjoy when we get the opportunity to hear the speeches.
Oh, yeah.
You know, these players that go in because the emotions come rolling out. You know, you get to see some of these big, tough guys that are up there. I think about watching Izzy go in.
Yeah.
Jason Isringhausen, his speech was incredible. Scott Rowland. You know, it's cool, and it's so special for these guys. And I know you talked to Izzy about this. He said, hey, this means more to me than anything. Like,
yep.
He said, if I were fortunate enough to be in Cooperstown, I think I'd still hold this tighter.
Yep. And we're hoping that on opening day we can roll out some of the red jacket guys, and that would be Izzy's first time being introduced on opening day, which would be great to see. Here's Matt Caesar, and he yanks one foul. And we still haven't had the induction ceremony for Bill White, Tommy Hurd, John Tudor, and we'll add one more this year. So one way or another, and the Cardinals, by the way, I talked to Brian Finch this last week, who's part of the Cardinals Hall of Fame Museum, team historian. They are planning to have a ceremony for the Cardinals Hall of Fame this year. Now, whether that's at Ballpark Village or held outdoors or however they do it, but we're gonna celebrate it this year.
However it's done and whoever is able to be there, it's going to be special.
Oh, yeah. It is a neat day. There's no doubt. 2-2. And that's chopped foul.
Dylan Floro, part of the revamped bullpen for the Marlins here. They had to do a little work in that pen. Brandon Kinsler, a closer from a year ago, he ends up being gone. And kind of interesting that the Marlins, Dan, went with like the ground ball direction. We see a bunch of swing and miss in bullpen. Dylan Floro gets a ton of ground balls. They brought in Anthony Bass. He'll probably serve as their closer. Tons of ground balls.
Well, they changed their front office.
That's it. Going a different direction, right?
And they made history in doing so. The first female general manager in the history of the game.
Kim Ng, not sure if she's still sitting back there, but she's been most of this ball game, been directly behind home plate.
The 2-2. We have not seen him, at least I haven't seen him yet, but Zach Thompson is throwing for the Cardinals in their pen. I'm excited to see him. So it looks like he would get the ninth inning.
Zach was a guy last year in spring training before everything got shut down. I remember walking around the backfields and just stopping to watch him throw, and he was throwing a live batting practice to, starters, and he looked good.
Yeah.
Breaking ball looked good.
Your favorite teams have a new network. Fox Sports Midwest is becoming Bally Sports Midwest. March 31st.
5-3 our score. Zach Thompson is getting loose in the Cardinals pen. He's only appeared in 2 games in the main games. 3 2/3, 3 hits allowed. And the 1-0. Taken for a ball inside. This is Heineman. Has major league experience with the Giants. And that's taken low. 3-0. We had a game earlier this spring where Tyler was behind the plate, had a couple of caught stealings. He was talking the other day about how you watch Yadier Molina. He said you come away and you hear the stories about his work ethic and what he does to prepare for his season. And then he said you join the team and you see it firsthand. He said it's no joke, man. He said this guy works. And you understand how he stayed in the game this long.
Yeah, well, and you have to love something to work that hard, and there's no question the love that Yadi has for this game.
Heineman with a base hit into center field. He's had a good spring.
Goes back to us just kind of talking about the roster and making an impression. You know, you go out there, you handle your business in spring training, and even if it's not in the cards for you at the beginning of the season, we know how these seasons happen. Injuries creep up. You just want to be the guy that's on speed dial.
Easy off. Easy off, Blake. Easy.
This is Connor Capel. And a swing and a miss. And Capel hit by the pitch. He was part of the Oscar Mercado deal back in 2018. So the tying runs are aboard. And the go-ahead run will come to the plate.
The center fielder, number 87, Scott Hurst.
And it brings in Scott Hurst. He's a third-round pick, 94th overall back in 2017. And this is one of those players, I think, to your point earlier, to see how guys can try to catch up. He was not a part of any minor league season, obviously, and was not part of the camp down in Springfield. So, you know, how quickly can these guys get up to speed? And that's taken low. 2 balls and no strikes.
The hard part, too, for some of these guys, everybody has different resources. So, and everybody lives in different parts of the world. Some areas are locked down. Some areas guys were able to get out there and do a little bit more with their time during the offseason. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how some of these guys progress that missed the season last year.
And that's out of play. Out of Glendora, California. He's 25 years old. Back in 2019, he did make it up to Double-A, played in 45 games with Springfield and hit 191. And the 2-1 pitch. And that's outside. So they're all loaded up. So 20 pitches now for Floro. And this Cop Ready telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Lars Nootbaar will be the batter. Well, base hit could tie this game up.
Yeah, you know these games, Dan, it's spring training. Nobody at the end of the year asks, hey, how'd you guys do in spring training? You know Schulte wants these games. You want to see if your team can battle back, and not exactly your starting roster that's in there, your starting lineup, but you want to see your team fight for these wins, dig back into games.
And the bases are loaded. Nootbaar fouls it back. Back in 2019, did make it up to Double-A with Springfield. So he made 3 jumps. He was at Peoria. It was Palm Beach, Peoria, and then Springfield. So, you know, Cardinals think they may have something here. He's only 23 years old. And that pitch in the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike. A shift on the right side of the infield. And that's out of play. Well, Floro is pitched into a jam here. And the 1-2 pitch. Nootbaar with a fly ball. Out to shallow left. Runners will stay put. And the bases will be loaded with 2 outs. And here is Jose Rondon. Mentioned earlier that this guy is definitely opened up some eyes in the Cardinals camp. And a lot of that due to the power that he has shown. Okay, I'm not lying, Brad. Are you ready?
Yeah, of course I'm ready.
This is Zach Thompson pitching for the Marlins. However, it's not that Zach Thompson that you're thinking about there. This guy is right-handed, and he spells Zach Z-A-C-H. The Cardinal Zach Thompson spells it Z-A-C-K. No relation.
You sure about the no relation
I'm
thing?
positive.
Because you were a little confused earlier with Zach Pop and Pop Warner.
Right. There was no relation there either. I can understand where you think it might be, but no.
Okay. Baseball's weird.
It is. And here's Jose Rondon. 32 games in the Venezuelan League, and he hit 7 home runs. Oof. This spring, this Zach Thompson. Not bad numbers with a 0 ERA, and I'm with Brad Thompson. Any relation to Zach?
Which one?
Either one.
It's I don't know. I haven't done one of those Ancestry.com things.
You may have to dig.
Was it 23andMe? You'll find out.
I mean, you can understand there might be some fans that are curious about that. I'm sure you've been asked.
Yeah, look, he's my more talented left-handed cousin from Kentucky.
But you've made the big leagues. He hasn't yet.
Well, he will.
I know. He's pretty good.
Oh, he will.
Bases loaded and a 1-1 taken down. 2 balls and 1 strike. Two and two. So they're all loaded up here for Rondon. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
No.
All right, Brad, you've been wanting exciting plays in baseball. Now you're going to get it. Yeah.
Are you calling another birthday shot right here?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying you're going to get an exciting play.
Okay, 3-2, 2 outs, bases loaded.
That's what I'm saying.
Thought you were calling a birthday granny.
I'd be happy with that.
By the way, if you're just tuning in, it's Dan McLaughlin's birthday.
Oh, that's so nice of you, Brad.
Love to see a grand slam for you for your birthday.
I wanted the Arenado home run, but I'll take that. I'll take a walk, too. 5-4. So base hit now potentially could put the Cardinals on top.
Get this base hit here, and then the other Zach Thompson got himself a little save situation.
This might be the guy with the granny. Nolan Gorman.
Good choice.
And he pulls it foul. Nolan with a base hit tonight.
Hey, Nolan doesn't get cheated very often, does he?
No.
Well, I mean, he's swinging up there to do some damage.
There's a lot of room on the left side. He said ever since he's been a little guy playing Little League Baseball, they've been shifting against him. Told me that during the warm-up.
Did you shift in Little League?
No,
Dan?
we did not. We kept our gloves on the infield between innings.
I remember saying, big lefty, but it really didn't mean anything. We're just telling people.
Gorman out to right center, and that ball is down. 1 run in. 2 runs in. Here comes a third. Nolan Gorman clears the bases. Bases loaded double, and Gorman drives in 3. And the Redbirds are on top.
Trying to go in was Thompson there with the little cutter, leaves it center cut, and Nolan Gorman does exactly what he's supposed to do with that pitch, just crushes it in the gap. You'd love to see that. Cardinals down a couple of runs, scrape back into this one, and then get that big hit.
That makes it a 7-5 Cardinal lead. Gorman at second base now. And this is Mendoza. A 2-hit night for Nolan Gorman. Fastball in there for a strike. And the 1-1 pitch in the dirt, and it's 2-1. Off the end of the bat and fouled back.
Tell you what, watching Nolan Gorman drive that ball in the gap, drive in 3, the future's bright for some young position players for the Cardinals.
No doubt.
Kind of shifted their draft the last few years. We've seen Dylan Carlson graduate to the big leagues. Nolan Gorman, the first rounder with big-time power potential. Seeing this last draft, Jordan Walker, big-time power.
3-2 the count on Mendoza. Lifted in the air down the right field line. And a foul ball.
Thought a fan was going to try to grab that for an out.
Yeah. You're going to stick with those rules, aren't you?
Well, I'm interested.
You are all over it. You're going to be checking in on the bananas.
I am for sure. I'm going to try to take in a Savannah Banana game this year. Somehow, some way.
Be tough to say if you're the broadcaster 3 times fast.
The Savannah Banana, Savannah Banana, Savannah Bananas?
Apparently not hard for you.
Oh, when you've been a banana fan like I have.
Well, for all those years. You're telling me the owner gets pretty dressed up for these
dressed up in a tuxedo with tails, yellow tuxedo, obviously,
of course,
with the big top hat. Picture Dumb and Dumber, but like a banana. But he loves it. He's got something good going over there. Interesting rules. You know, I don't see any of those coming to the big leagues anytime soon, but they're mixing it up.
A 3-2 pitch again to Mendoza. And he spoiled it. And the 3-2 pitch again. That time he got him. Big inning for the Cardinals. Big night for Nolan Gorman. Couple of hits highlighted by this bases clearing double. Puts the Cardinals on top as we head to the ninth. It is odd to see a player wearing number 57 that was worn by the late Darryl Kyle, and it's the first time that number has been issued since his passing many years ago, and it's being worn this season by Zach Thompson.
Talking with guys around the field, around the clubhouse that pulled me to the side and that knew DK and kind of the legacy that he had around here. Just having the opportunity to learn more about him and what he meant to the org, what he meant to fans. Actually today, walking off the field with kids, a fan flagged me down and said he was so excited to see 57 back out there and was glad that I had it. So it's obvious DK had a huge impact on St. Louis, and I'm glad that I feel honored that they picked me to wear it.
It's an honor to wear that. It's the first time that someone has worn that number. Darryl passed away June 18th of 2002. I talked to Matt Morris, who was very close to Darryl about a week ago or so, and he said he has kept in touch with the family. A lot of it is done through social media. He said it's amazing the kids have grown up. But obviously there isn't a day that goes by that he doesn't think about Darryl. He said he was driving on the highway and it was Interstate 57, something like that. And he said, you know, first thing that pops into mind, Darryl Kyle. So it is an honor to wear that number, and obviously it's by design to give it to someone that would understand it and respect it, and that's what they think is Zach Thompson.
Yeah, that's not a decision that the organization made lightly, so it's great to hear him kind of talk about it, learning about DK. And Dan, I never had the opportunity to be around him, but all I had ever heard about Darryl Kyle and his legacy is that he was one of the best.
I asked Matty Moe about that. I said, what did you take away from him outside of just so many things, the friendships of being close on and off the field? And he said, from a professional baseball standpoint, he said you take the blame and you shy away from the praise, but you're always there to be accountable. He said always, whether it's with your media, your teammates, that kind of thing, and always take the ball every 5th day. Always take it. Got to take the ball. That's your job.
They're good lessons.
Yep.
I love the nugget on accountability, right? Because I think sometimes it's easy to hide from your failures, especially now. I mean, you could just kind of, so-and-so is not available today. He didn't come out to the locker room or didn't show up for the Zoom, you know, in these years. But those are the ones you gotta own, and you learn from those. You learn from failures.
Zach has blown a save in this spring training, and now a chance to pick up a save. 7-5 Cardinals after the big hit by Nolan Gorman. Cardinals have even said there could be a time this year you see this young left-hander in the big leagues this year. And it's a strikeout. Take you back to last inning. Our Budweiser play of the game off the bat of Nolan Gorman. A double to clear the bases. Give the Cardinals a lead. Cardinals trying to pick up their 6th win of the spring and go to 6-5-4. Open date tomorrow, and then they'll play on Saturday, and we'll have it for you. 2 balls and no strikes. What do you think Thompson projects as, Brad, as you, and I'm talking about this Thompson, what do you think he projects as long term? Is he starter, reliever? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's starter. I mean, you look at the makeup, you look at the build. He's got a feel for 4 pitches. His curveball is really good, but you see the velocity there. For him, it's just going to be kind of ironing out the moving parts in his mechanics. But no, I see him as a starter. I feel like that's the future for him. Now we'll see what the rotation looks like when he is ready to get there. We'll see if there's a place, because how many guys the Cardinals have right now that want to be starting, want that opportunity, but it's just not there for him because of the depth.
Slap the other way quickly towards first, and not in time. And so the tying run will come to the plate. Jazz Chisholm. Chisholm came in midway through our ball game. Runner at first with 2 down. You know, ideally, you know, barring injury or ineffectiveness, you'd love to see a young man come up and have the chance to break through, maybe get his feet wet in the bullpen, then eventually move to a rotation. That may be the path that Thompson goes in. You don't know. And Brad mentioned his curveball. It is, and you just saw it, rated as one of the best in the organization and in the minor leagues.
Yeah, it's really good. And yes, when I was mentioning him as a starter, I believe that's what his long-term projections are. But you're absolutely right. I mean, if you're the hot hand at some point and the Cardinals have a need in the pen, well, then you're the hot hand. It's a good way to get your feet wet. It's worked for some guys, you know. Adam Wainwright worked out pretty well for him.
Yeah, I'd say it worked out pretty well.
That's okay. Talk about somebody that looks dialed in this spring.
Very good. 3-0 the count. And he walked him. So Thompson got the first 2. Infield hit, a walk. And the tying runs are aboard. Alvarez will be the batter for Miami. Marlins, by the way, have had a very good spring. They're 8-2-5. 5 ties. Cardinals have had 4.
I hate ties, Dan. I get it. I understand it. I don't like them.
Not in baseball. I don't like them in any sport, come to think of it.
No. Like do you want to invest 3 hours?
No.
Like, oh, you get home. Hey, hon, who won? Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody won.
Yeah, come to think of it, let's play this thing out. And the 0-1 pitch. Curveball taken low again. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Alvarez 1 for 6 this spring. A little tardy.
That looked uncomfortable.
Sure did.
I should swing.
Got a couple breaking balls in the first 2 pitches of the at-bat, and then whop.
He spotted that thing up, too.
So 1 out, 1 strike away. And the 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Seth Elledge warming in the Cardinals pen. Zach Thompson did take part in the satellite camp for the Cardinals. So didn't have the competition. Did have the inter-squad games, working with the coaching staff and whatnot.
You'll take it. Any reps you could get last year, you're taking them.
The 2-2. And that'll do it. It's a called 3rd strike, and the Cardinals win it. They come from behind. 7-5 the final.
You gotta love the comeback victory, the big knock by Nolan Gorman there, the 3-run double. Daniel Ponce de Leon with a nice outing in this one, and most importantly, a happy birthday to Dan McLaughlin.
You're the best.
You're the best.
No, you are.
Happy birthday,
you
buddy.
are. Thank you. Appreciate it. Cardinals win it. They're now 6-5-4 this spring. 7-5 the final. Wrap it up in a moment.